Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Ricardo Acosta Re. Everybody calls me Rick. I'm the owner of First Response Mobile Services here in Killeen, Texas. So thank you for being here today. I feel like I'm talking to the camera and not you guys, so I apologize I do that. First things first. For those of us that donate or are up here, here's my $20. Proof is on camera. There's my $20. Thank you for the opportunity for letting me share with you guys. So I have been asked for two things. The basic introduction of what if. I've always said since day one that I've been here with this group is what if. What if you're at a restaurant? What if you're at home? The holidays are coming. We're getting ready to do turkey. We're getting ready to do ham. For those of us that are fitness people, maybe some celery or soybean or whatever it is that you're eating. But when we're doing that stuff, what we're gonna do is, what if someone's choking at the table? What if someone's having a heart attack? We don't know who's coming at home. It's been a while since we've seen grandma, grandpa, cousin, brother, sister, mother, whoever's showing up, and we have to be ready, okay? One, because our insurance says so. Ricardo. So we're gonna do, I brought a couple things for us to do. First of all, again, family members may come and visit, and they may also have mental health issues. You know, tomorrow is what? Election day. And the two things that we're not supposed to talk about with family at the table is what? Politics and religion. So it's kind of hard because there's always that one person that wants to talk about politics and religion. So it stresses us out. It brings up mental health. It brings up all kinds of stuff. But what if while you're having a discussion about politics and who's running for president, who's not running for president, somebody gets to argue and they start choking? You're thinking, I don't like him anyway. I might just let him choke. But we're not gonna do that, right? That's not how we operate. So we're gonna talk about how to take the first steps of life-saving steps, okay? Basic life support steps. Our 911 system here in Bell County is a 911 system that goes directly to Bell County. But did you guys know that we have a dispatch group at Killeen Police Department? What? We have a dispatch group at Killeen Police Department. So Killeen Police Department has a room about this size with a bunch of computers and people that sit in there and monitor 911 phone calls. Sometimes those calls accidentally go to the 911 dispatch office. I was there the other day doing some training and I heard a phone call. Yes. Hi, this is an emergency. What's your emergency, sir? Where are you? I'm in the front of Omart. I was like, all right, action, here we go. She goes, how can I help you, sir? He goes, Omart's closed. So I'm like, what's the emergency, sir? The emergency is like, they're not open. Can you please find out why they're not open? I was just like, all right, we're gonna hang up on this guy. Not every phone call is perfect, all right? So I got disappointed. But what you get those, I know, we get those phone calls every once in a while, we get those phone calls. So people ask, what happens if I have to do the Heimlich maneuver? Back in the day it was called the Heimlich maneuver, now it's actually called the abdominal thrust. Somebody says if you say the Heimlich, you gotta give them a nickel every time. That's not true. But the abdominal thrust is actually a very, very, very simple thing to do, okay? So in the abdominal thrust, we have a muscle that goes this way. It's called the diaphragm. Our job is to actually know how to push on that muscle so it gets everything out through the trachea. So I actually brought a little model with me today because a lot of people don't understand what the inside of your mouth looks like. So in the inside of your mouth, not only do you have your tongue, but you have this first hole here. This is called the trachea, and that little flap right up it, I'm gonna pass this around. This little flap right in front of it is known as the epiglottis. This is that little flap that when we swallow, the tongue actually slides back. That little flap folds over that first hole, so the big hole in the back, called the esophagus, goes down to the stomach. Everything goes down that way. Sometimes while we're talking and eating, some of that food doesn't go down the big hole, it goes down the little hole and the flap doesn't close, okay? So our job is to know that when we inhale, something gets stuck. It's simple. The lungs are right here. They're full of air. That's cool. That's like taking a bottle, putting a cork in it. You can squeeze the bottle, pop it out. Same concept. We're here. Two lungs, diaphragm. Our job is just to push up. So whatever pushes up against our lungs pops out this way. The new thing for CPR and choking, some of you guys have been to the restaurants and saw the old one where you straddle someone like you're trying to ride them, and then all of a sudden you're pushing on their stomach and trying to push it up. We haven't done that in about 20 years. That causes a lot of internal damage inside the intestines, so we don't do that anymore. The new way of doing that, strictly to the lungs, okay? We also have a baby. So I'm gonna pass this around so you guys can look at the airway to see what it looks like. A lot of people don't understand what the airways look like. So
from the back, right?
So you're going from the back. I'm actually going to ask for a volunteer. James, can I ask you to be a volunteer, sir? Yeah. Pass? All right, cool. All right. Heather, would you be a volunteer? Sure. All right. So, did you? Oh, I thought he said no. Okay, he said no. Well, come on. He said no. I thought he said no. So, let's give James a round of applause. James, thanks for being here. All right. So James, if you were choking, do you know the universal signal for I'm choking?
Spit it out.
How do you know someone's choking in a restaurant? What's the signal they give you?
They're choking, probably on the ground, gagging.
What's this? If somebody does this, what does that mean?
They're choking on something.
Okay, go ahead and give me that signal. All right, so we always ask the question, can I touch him? Am I afraid to touch him? Am I gonna get sued if I touch this guy? You're covered by a law called the Good Samaritan Law. So simply ask the question, sir, are you choking and can I help? He's not gonna answer you by a yes or no, but he may nod yes or no, okay? If he says no, wait till he passes out, call 911, then you can help him, okay? It's called implied consent. Don't laugh, it's true. So the other thing is, if he nods yes, one of the things that we did before is that we would actually do the Heimlich behind a person this way and actually have my legs with his leg, my pelvis to his pelvis, and it was either sexual harassment, or the other thing that can happen is when they pass out, they go forward and I would fall with them. Do you know what a nurse and a medic is trained to do if someone is doing this and they fall forward? Do you know what I'm trained to do? Let them go. Because I don't want to become a victim. So one of the new things that we do now is, if James is my patient, I'll move you here to the light so we can see you on camera, is I'm gonna explain, sir, I'm gonna go ahead and do a press on your, go ahead and keep holding that position. I want you to open your leg shoulder width apart, and I'm going to actually find his belly button with my hand. I'm not gonna look for lint. I'm gonna open my hand, I'm gonna feel here, right about here, and when I feel the belly button, I'm gonna make a fist right in the center of the belly button, and I'm gonna roll. That's gonna put you exactly where you need to be. A lot of people's like, is it 2 inches? Is it 1 inch? Is it between the bone? Too much information. Belly button, center of the hand. Make a fist, roll it. That's it. That's all you need to know. Okay? Once you're here, you're gonna place your body behind the person. So I'm gonna turn you sideways so we can see it on camera what it looks like. So as I do this, I'm gonna place my body sideways. That way I can get as close as I can to him, and when I can to him, I'll put my pelvis right against him. That way it doesn't look like sexual harassment. And right before I start pressing, I'm gonna say, sir, if you feel like you're gonna pass out, fall backwards. Nod your head if you understand. If he does that, he's gonna fall backwards. I want you to trust me with this, okay? I'm gonna do this. So I'm not gonna press on your body, but I'm gonna reach around. My hand is gonna go over my fist, okay? Again, I'm gonna just turn this way. So hand over my fist, and I'm gonna push in and underneath his rib cage. You saw how I'm barely pushing him. You see how his body just kind of reacted? Okay, so I'm gonna turn this way because I'm gonna show you what happens if James is here. So if James is here, I'm gonna go ahead and do the Heimlich. He goes unconscious, so I want you to go completely limp. As he goes completely limp, his body is limp, but I'm holding him up. So the cool thing about this, like, oh my God, this guy's like 700 pounds, what do? I can take one step backwards. Watch what happens to his knees. His knees actually even relax. Are you locked out? You good? So I can let him go right here because his knees are holding him up. I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna use my body mechanics so I don't hurt myself. It doesn't matter how big or how small you are, this will work because the knees are locked. The next thing that's gonna flex is gonna be his hips, automatically, okay? So all you're gonna do is look around, make sure it's safe, turn your body sideways, and just let the body fold, and you can let it slide right down your leg, nice and easy, boom. And as he hits the ground, I didn't strain my back, he didn't hurt himself, God gave us that extra cushion. You're gonna grab his head, you're gonna bring it back down, and since Two Gun is right here, I'm gonna say, hey, can you please call 911, let them know I have someone choking. Go grab the AED if we have one here in the facility. So our next step while we're here is we're automatically going to do what? What are we trying to get out? The object, okay? So I'm gonna do the Heimlich only until something either comes out or he goes unconscious. If he's unconscious, it still hasn't come out. I still have to open this airway. So I'm gonna open his mouth. As I open his mouth, I'm going to look to see if it came out. If it came out, I'm gonna grab it and take it out. If not, I automatically begin the steps of CPR. Why? Because the object is where? Here. I'm going to be pressing on CPR. Where do I press? On the chest. Okay? So you can put your hands down. We'll go ahead and pick you back up. Thank you, sir.
Good job.
Okay. So as we're doing the steps of CPR on him, you know, and that's another class, the steps of CPR are simple. You're going to place your hands together and you're going to start pushing. As you push, your elbows should be locked out. We've already had the class here. I already showed you how to do the compressions on the mannequins. If you haven't, call First Response Mobile Services and we will come and do that class for you. But you're going to push, you're going to push, you're going to push. And there's a number we always push to. The number is 30. American Heart Association now says that after 30 compressions, you're raising the blood pressure up to a certain point, but you're also pressing hard enough for the object to come out. We never give a breath during CPR if a person is choking, because if they're choking and I give them a breath, what happens to the object? I'll blow it right back down. So if they're choking CPR, 30 compressions, check to see if the object comes out. If it hasn't, continue 30 compressions, check the object to see if it comes out. And you continue that process until something happens. If it's a child, someone half the size, you can sit at a chair. As I sit in a chair, I can have a child come up right to between my legs and push and up, same concept. Or I can kneel down on one knee and have the kid put his legs between my knee, hand here, belly button, and push up. Does that make sense? So if I'm tall, and obviously I can't do that, I'm going to kneel down to his level. I can put my knee all the way down to the ground depending on how big or small the kid is. Okay? And then the last one is my baby. The baby is just like this. The babies, just like us, have air in their lungs. So my job is to make sure if something comes out. A baby is a rooter. Rooter is like a little pig. They like to go around finding stuff inside or on the ground. So if that happens, I want you to know that if you feel your throat right here, your throat, I don't see nobody doing it. Feel your throat right here. We have these little rings. These little rings are called cricoid rings. Usually by the age of 6 is when we develop these rings, okay? A baby does not have these rings. So for us, the rings are about less the size of a quarter, but for a baby, it can go bigger or larger than a quarter in a diameter. So that means a Lego can actually stretch that throat and go deeper, okay? So when you become a grandpa, you know how to do this, okay? So what do we do? If I see a baby, somebody hands me a baby, your baby's choking, I'm gonna take the baby, first thing I'm gonna do is hold the baby, open the baby's mouth to see if I can find it or grab the object. If I can grab the object, great. If I cannot grab the object, don't go digging for it. Why? I can push it back down further. I'm gonna take the baby, put him on my bicep, almost like a chair, and I'm gonna hold the baby by opening the throat. See how the throat goes back? I'm gonna grab the shoulder, but I'm not choking the baby. I'm just holding the airway open. I tip the baby down. Imaginary line is gonna hit the back because my job is trying to hit the front of my hand by doing this. So it should sound like this. What do you hear? Air. So I'm doing it correctly. Once I do 5, I tip the baby over on the back of my hand, on my bicep. Same thing, I'm flipping over like a sandwich. This time I'm gonna do 5. After my 5, I can check the airway or I can continue. If the object comes out, great. If the baby goes unconscious, not great, okay? If you have a table, CPR is, you start CPR immediately. If you do not have a table, you can do CPR right here in your arm. You hold the baby just like this, make sure the airway is open as you're doing CPR. So hold the baby tight, start doing CPR. I'm gonna do CPR again every 30, and after every 30, what am I gonna check? To see if the airway comes out, okay? I also wanna tell you with this, the longer we take to get the object out, the shorter amount of time the brain has to live. A baby only has less than 2 liters of blood, so he has less than 2 minutes once he stops breathing before the brain dies. If you're 5 foot something, you only have 5 minutes before your brain begins to die, if you don't get oxygen in your system. If I'm 6 foot, I'm better off than most of you. I got 6 minutes. So the faster you start, the better chance you have of survival, okay? So after they're choking, you start CPR, okay? Are there any questions for this? Yes, sir.
If you could get it on that maneuver, so you just let it How many times you have to try?
So you're gonna do the Heimlich maneuver until the object comes out or the person goes unconscious, okay? So for you, you're gonna wrap your hands around, push in, up real hard. In, up, real hard. Okay, just in, up, real hard. It's almost like you're trying to make them burp, okay? You're trying to get that air out of their system, okay?
Until they pass out.
Until, hopefully it'll come out before they pass out. If a woman if you have a pregnant woman and you have a belly, you can't press on her belly, so you go above the breast, okay? You go right here on this bone in the center of the chest, almost like you're doing this, but you can stand up and do the CPR just like that, okay? Do the Heimlich maneuver just like that, okay? So before I go to my next subject, let me get 2 volunteers, and I'm gonna just make sure I taught this correctly, have someone walk through the I'm choking and walk them down to the ground. Can I have the ladies? Yes. Okay. Patient?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, give the signal. Look at her, give the signal.
Are you okay?
She's
Do you need
choking.
help? Okay. So basically,
Turn your body sideways.
position her like
Okay,
this.
take both of you take 2 big steps forward, please. 1 for safety. There you go. I want you to hit the table. Okay.
And her belly button.
Find her belly button. Good. Make a fist. Roll it. And you're going to press until she does what?
Until she actually expels whatever.
So let's say she goes unconscious. So she goes completely limp. Drop
Come on, go
drop your
limp.
hands.
Go limp.
Okay. Take a step back. Take a step back. Take a step back. Notice that her knees will lock and go out. Okay. Grab her head. Walk her to the ground. Next step is to do what? Alert someone to do what?
Go call 911.
Okay. Remember, we have our phones with us.
Do you have
An
any
AED.
AED here? Go
Okay.
get that for me. And then
AED, automated external defibrillator, the pads, the shocker. Even if you say the heart shocker thingy dingy, go grab that.
Yeah.
Okay. From here,
and then I check to see
So,
if there's anything in her mouth.
if you got it out, if you don't see it,
Still in there.
and if you don't see it,
And then I actually come.
you actually start that step right.
CPR.
So the hands of CPR go right between the breastbone, and that's another class that we'll do later on. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay.
And then it's 30 compressions, and then check again. Hopefully she's starts
Good.
breathing again.
Awesome. Good job. Okay. Thank you guys. Round of applause for the ladies. And for those of you who just walked in really quick, because I know my time, I only got about 5 minutes left, is that we're going to look at this piece of paper right here, okay? This is something that we're gonna discuss further later on. I'm gonna come back when I have the chance to do a couple of things, but because this is Mental Health Awareness Month for men, November, as you guys notice, I'm growing my beard out this month, so it's No Shave November. No Shave November this month is to bring awareness to men's mental health this month. That's why I'm trying to look like two guns. And Ricardo has a real sexy picture of this other one. I know, right? So I brought you this. This is from the Association of Mental Health. So the National Mental Health First Aid Council is a company that started nationally first of all, in Australia, and now has migrated over around the world into the United States. I'm a nationally certified first aid instructor for mental health, and this is the algorithm that we use for if someone is in trouble mentally. What does that look like? Well, he's not going to give you a choking signal, but here we have a lot of PTSD. We have a lot of people who look like they're stressed, anxiety, depression. So if you look under here, the first step is called A. Approach the person, introduce yourself. Hey, how are you? My name is Ricardo Acosta. It looks like you're having a bad day. You feel like talking? Can I buy you a cup of coffee? Okay, whatever the case may be, approach the person and assess for risk of suicide. Make sure they don't have a gun with them. Make sure they don't have anything that they're gonna harm themselves or you. If you see that they are in that kind of risk, stop what you're doing because you're not professionals. Call who? 911, okay? Not every 911 call is gonna be arrest. The police officers will arrest for safety, but will take them to the hospital. Okay, I want you guys to know that. It's okay to call 911. Second thing is if they says, yes, I want to talk. Yeah, I'm good. How are you? My name is so-and-so. I'm just kind of having a bad day. Listen, L, next one, is listen to them just non-judgmentally. You know, Hey, what's going on? Well, I have this going on with my wife. I'm getting out of the military. I'm having a hard day. The weather just itself is starting to do that. Listen to them and their problem. Most times people just want to talk and have no one to vent or talk to. Most times that stops it. Third one is give reassurance. Hey man, things are gonna be okay. I talk about this in my group all the time. And if you think you have it bad, you don't know, again, what I taught you guys a long time ago is what's your perception of stress. If I say, oh, I'm having money problems, I was like, well, so is the homeless guy under the bridge that has no money. Oh yeah. My kids are getting on my nerves. Yeah, but there's people at a clinic right now that are trying to have kids that can't have kids. Okay? You're not gonna say, well, you can have mine. That's not how that works, okay? The second one is encourage appropriate professional help. Get them help. Send them to the hospital. Have them go to there's the pavilion, Cedar Crest. There's all kinds. Bring them to me. Have them call first response. I help with suicide prevention. I have helped 3 suicides this year from not killing themselves. Okay? So call someone you know. Give me. If I can't get it, I'll send them somewhere else. And last but not least, encourage self-help and other support services, and that includes ourselves. If we are mentally anguished, if we have our own problems and we just can't take in more problems, we can't help anybody. So first aid, whether it's choking, CPR, or mental health first aid, all starts with looking at the signal. I need help, or I need help. Look for the signals. My name is Ricardo with First Response Mobile Services. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
How do you know how hard or soft you should push like a baby, for instance? That would be terrifying in itself, not wanting to hurt that baby while they're in that stressful.
Correct. So one of the things that we learn when we're doing CPR and first aid or anything like that is when you push on someone, they always say, go 2 inches or go 1.5 inches. I know it's hard to measure 2 inches. We don't have a ruler we can push down, right? But we do know that the skin all the way to the lungs and all the way to the heart is approximately 2 inches or 1.5 inches for babies. So for us is if I push on someone's chest, I should hear, I'm pressing hard enough. On a baby, if I'm pushing hard enough, you guys heard it. I'm pushing hard enough, I should hear, or, you may fracture a rib, you may break the rib, but remember, ribs will always heal. They're bones. Their job is to get back together. Okay? I'm not so much worried about the ribs breaking. I just want to make sure that you can hear that breathing. If you do it properly, you won't break the ribs. Some people get, well, if you're not breaking ribs, you're not doing it right. Ask the SWAT guy that I gave that class to, where he had 40 CPR scenarios and not one lived. Broke every single rib for everybody. Nobody. Yeah. So if you want to know more about that, I have the mannequins. Give me a call, 254-247-6054. First Response Mobile Services. Great question. Okay, man. Thank you.
At Mountain View Productions, we want to give you and your business peak visibility.